Today, we're going to go over 7 questions, and these are questions to ask yourself whenever you're feeling discouraged, and specifically despite your best weight loss efforts, right? Because maybe you joined a weight loss program because you saw good results in someone else, but when it came to you and you applied all the things, it didn't quite give you the same outcome. And I know that can be super frustrating. I know that feeling. And maybe you followed what they said in the program or in the challenge and nothing budged for you, or maybe it only lasted for a little while. If that is something that describes you, then this episode is going to help you to figure out why that keeps on happening to you. If you're ready for personal answers, then press play and get ready because we are going to do an inventory of questions together. I'm going to have you ask yourself these 7 questions. One of the goals of this podcast, Courageous Fit Female, is to help you to dig a little bit deeper every time you return. And I am so ready. I'm so here for this. I want to help you find out the reason you keep getting discouraged and feeling stuck, even though you're putting in all this effort to lose weight. So if you're ready, let's get into today's episode. As a Christian female in the fitness industry, I've seen so many women frustrated as they search for transformation through diets and exercise alone. And what I realized is that God's Word, the most important part of this life for a Christian, seems to be the portion that's always missing from what we're being taught about being fit and healthy. Courageous Fit Female is a podcast for women who love Jesus and want to get fit and healthy His way. Want to seek His truth versus what the world says? Then let's get into today's show. Before we get into the 7 questions, I want you to know that some of these questions are very obvious. You'll know the answer right away, like immediately, like you don't have to think about it, okay? And I want you to pay attention to those questions, or the answer rather, to those questions, like how you answer it and how quickly you know the answer to those specific questions. Because if you know it right away, that means that you knew it all along, and more than likely you've just been piling or layering things on top of the answer. And that may be the reason why, or maybe one of the reasons why you are not getting to the place that you want to be. Now, if you come to the questions where you're like, gosh, I need 5 or 10 minutes to really uproot and dig out the answer to this question, then those are good things. Those are really the things that we need to do more of in this life. Instead of turning up the music and ignoring the important and essential and priority things in our life. We all know what priorities are in our life. And even if you're like, oh, I can't get my priorities straight. Well, it doesn't matter because you do know what those priorities are. You know what pieces are really important to you. You're definitely going to want to grab a paper for this one. So go and grab that and let's get into question number 1. Number 1 is asking yourself, well, first of all, I want you to write down numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I want you to circle which number describes you, okay? So the question is, how committed are you on a scale between 0 to 4 when it comes to insert the blank, whether it's this fitness challenge you're doing or this meal plan that you're doing or whatever it is that you're doing currently right now that you're saying, okay, I'm not getting any results. So whatever that thing is, from numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, circle what number describes your commitment. 0 being not committed and 4 being super committed. And I'll go into the descriptions of each of these numbers. So circle which one. And this question is going to help you to really think about and get honest with yourself with why you aren't getting the results just by asking this one single question, right? Like, what is your commitment level? I want you to stick around for all the questions, but honestly, if you just answered this one question, you'll know why you are where you are. For 9 out of 10 of you, this question is going to help you right off the bat. Okay, so 0. What is 0? If you circled a 0, it means that you have an attitude of, it doesn't matter if you try or you don't try, you don't care at all. And I don't think that describes you. So I don't think anyone should be circling 0 because that's why you're here. You're looking for a solution to these problems that you're going through. If you circled number 1, it means that you think about it, you think about this thing, but you're very passive about it. And the majority of your life, you've avoided hard things, right? And you prefer to be a spectator. You have the knowledge and the know-how. You hear all these things about how to solve this problem, but you simply just enjoy learning. There's no shame in that. I love learning. But the problem is that you typically only apply these things once in a blue moon. I mean, you have the attitude of, man, I just don't feel like it today, so I'm just going to skip it until the feeling returns based on outward circumstances, right? Maybe a doctor diagnosed you and then you finally got to doing the thing, or maybe your hip started feeling creaky, or maybe you saw your friend post her after pic and you're like, okay, now I'm motivated, now I'm going to do it, right? There are these outward circumstances that dictate your next step. So that's number one. If you circled number two, it means that yes, you're trying, but you give up super easily after a couple of weeks or maybe even a couple of days into it. And you go back to square one where it's very comfortable, right? It's that comfort zone. And you couldn't agree more with the saying of, I can have my cake and eat it too, because everyone wants to have their cake and eat it too, right? So if you circled number two, that might describe you. Number three, if you circled that, it means that you're doing the things, but there's no system, there's no accountability in place. But the good thing is that if you circled number three, it means you take responsibility and you're owning up to the things that don't go as planned. But there are very unhealthy patterns that are taking over your life, and that's why you're stuck where you are. You're just in this middle, hovering. And so, for example, the unhealthy patterns are things like you compensate for days where you can't get to your plan and you punish yourself by eating less, or, pushing yourself more than your body can handle. Or maybe you go out for a run, a 2-hour run because you ate a cookie yesterday, or you go by the go hard or go home mentality. And if you don't go hard, then you're considered weak and you can't live with that fact, right? Guys, we're all weak, right? We're weak. That's why we need Jesus. We are weak spiritually. We are weak physically. We are weak mentally. And that's why we need to keep pressing into Him. You're trying to work on this part, but it feels like every time you try to rewire your brain and your heart, something else distracts you, like a new thing or a shiny object, right? Or maybe you're a part of this online community and it's a distraction, right? Because you see so many people posting their pictures in your feed of them going hard, and then you want to do what they're doing because they're posting all their highlights and you're like, I can do this too. If that describes you, then you circled number three. Number four, if you circled number four, it means that you have everything planned out and you stick to your plan because you're committed all the way. And if you don't get to your plan, then you don't shame yourself. You don't eat less the next day to make up for it, and you don't eat less as a punishment. So if that sounds like it describes you, then you're on number four. Okay, second question. Now I want you to write down numbers 0 through 4 again, and I want you to look at the number that you circled, okay? So the number 2 question is, how many days a week are you doing the appropriate requirements to fulfill or to meet this thing that you're trying to do? So if it's a fitness program, how many days in a week are you doing these things that you're supposed to be doing? Look at the number, and if you circled 0, or on average it's once a week or twice a week, maybe 3 times a week. Okay, it depends. Everyone's on a different level. That's why we're here trying to figure this out. But ideally, for benefits, you want to circle anything between 3 and 4. 3 to 4 days a week is ideal because 3 is not crazy and 4 it's enough to give you the physical benefits, right? And remember, more doesn't always mean better. We were trained, we were taught that go as many days as you can. But us in this season of life where we are between the ages of 35 to 40 to 50 years old, listening to this podcast, we are in a different season of life, or we have different hormones going on. And when it comes to our hormones in this season, we can't do the same things as we did when we were the peak and prime of our life, which was 20, 25 years old, right? Our hormones are different. And so we should not be going every single day of the week. 3 to 4 days is just a right sweet spot. And there are studies that have shown that this is what is beneficial for women at this age, for perimenopause and postmenopause years. So no, more does not always mean better. But if you're lacking in water intake, or you're not eating your vegetables, or you're not getting enough quality sleep, then yes, more is better. The point is to get honest and ask yourself why it's only a 1 or a 0, or it's so sporadic that you weren't even sure what to pick, right? But what number did you circle? So again, number 2 is how many days a week are you doing the appropriate requirements for said whatever, insert the blank for you. Number 3, the question is how much longer do you want to keep throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks? We all know what this phrase means. It means think of spaghetti, you're going to throw it at the wall, and whatever sticks, that's the thing that's going to work for you. So I've done this for so long, and that is okay, right? Because if you're not so in a rush to try to figure something out, then you just throw the thing. You don't need to hire a coach and hire someone that's going to help you, invest in someone that's going to guide you to avoiding specific things. You just want to experiment yourself and do these things on your own. But the question is, how much longer do you want to keep throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks? Because you're here with the title of this episode about questions to ask yourself when you're feeling discouraged. So how long? Maybe I should have changed the question to how long do you want to stay discouraged? How long? I mean, yes, we are promised trials in this life, but it doesn't mean that we have to stay discouraged 24/7 and keep resetting and waiting for January 1st or Monday or a brand new month to try to do everything all over again and again, right? So are you really doing your best, right, to get to that physical place that you want to be in? Or do you just keep doing all these things to try to see what sticks and then going on to the next thing, and you feel like it's taking forever, but maybe it's because you're not taking the appropriate steps for that. So how much longer do you want to keep throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks? Question number 4, why not? Why not? That's the question. Why not have a plan in place? Why don't you have a plan in place? I mean, it's more than likely that you need guidance from someone who has been there if you don't know how to create a plan on your own. And that's exactly what my coachings are for, right? These one-on-one coaching sessions. And those are things that I super love to do, is to help you create a custom plan. Why don't you have a plan in place? Okay. Again, number 4, why not? Why not try a different program? Why are you still in the same one program, or a program that you've seen your friend doing? Why are you still in that program if that program promises you great results, but nothing's happening? Or maybe instead you keep jumping from one program that's free to the next free program, and you're doing a weight loss challenge one week, and then the next week you try another one and there's a new diet shake, and then you go to the next newest diet shake, right? But the question is, why not? Why don't you have a plan in place yet? Why are you still in that same program? Why not take the next step? Why not invest in someone who has been through what you're going through right now? I mean, yes, we can get the moral support from a friend, but your friend more than likely is not going through the exact same thing that you are going through. Maybe you have some other commonality that you're going through together, but it's not this, right? It's not this one thing. So that is why it is super important to invest in someone who has been through the same struggles that you have, and they know the different steps to avoid and what steps to take. So the question is, why not? You can fill in the blank for whatever it is for you. Why not? And then fill in the blank. For example, why haven't I hired a coach yet, right? Number 5 is a 1 and 2 question. It is, what are you going to let go of? And what are you going to start doing? Because when you let go of something, you can start doing something. Or it could be the opposite way. What are you going to start doing today? And when you start doing that thing, what are you going to let go of? Because when we keep adding things and not letting go of something, it's kind of like buying new clothes, and you keep buying new clothes and your closet keeps getting more and more and more. No, instead, why not, before you buy a brand new pair of jacket and jeans and a new pair of shoes, donate the other ones or sell the other ones, get rid of it. And that's probably why your closet is so full, right? So that's an example. So what are you going to start doing, and what are you going to let go of, or vice versa? Maybe you need to let go of the time that you're spending online. Maybe it's YouTube. Maybe there's just so many different things that you keep hearing and intaking, but you're not applying. So we need to X that out, at least temporarily, until you have that full commitment to the actual thing that you're trying to do. Okay. And so on the other hand, what are you going to start doing? Are you going to start strength training? Are you going to start your cardio? What are you going to start doing? We can get very specific and say we're going to start doing it 3 times a week and yada, yada, yada. But I just want you to be very general. What are you going to start doing and what are you going to let go of? Number 6 is, have you prayed about it? Okay, so whatever you are feeling discouraged about, have you prayed about it? Guys, God and us, that we have a relationship, right? It's not a one-way relationship, or it should not be a one-way relationship. I'm married to my husband, so I'm not going to just be the only one talking and he never responds. That's just weird, right? And if my husband's always the one talking and I never respond to him, that's not the way it works. A relationship goes both ways. So have you prayed about it? God is the one that's going to give you the strength and the courage, and he's going to give you the answers for your next steps. If you're praying about it, maybe he's going to send you someone that's going to help you to get the actual answer, right? I don't know what it is for you or how God is going to answer for you specifically, but have you prayed about it? Guys, this step, prayer, it builds your faith, right? And we all want that. It gives us direction when we pray. It aligns us with God's will. And because Jesus cares about every part of your life, including your struggles with body shame or whatever it is for you, maybe it's food addiction or drinking, or you're, always confused or overwhelmed with, should I do this diet? No, don't do this diet. Oh, but they said, yes, do this, etc., etc. Jesus cares about that. He already knows what you're going through. So pray, and pray. Okay. Pray without ceasing. That's number 6. Have you prayed about it? Last but not least is number 7. And that question is, when are you going to start? This is such a super easy question, but I think a lot of us, we don't want to write the answer down. Okay. So I encourage you to write the answer down, put it in your planner. When are you going to start? And when we start, it's actually a lot easier to start than to complete something, right? So I'm just thinking of this now as I'm recording, that just because we start something, it doesn't mean we're going to get to the next step. So start it and continue. Find accountability. If you need that, reach out to me and we can do these coaching sessions together where I can help you to keep accountable. We will work a calendar out together. What are the most appropriate days for you, so that it's not just start and then end. It's actually start and start and start and grow and learn and keep going. And soon enough, you're going to develop this habit, right? So it's not just about starting, but maybe you need a kickstart, right? Maybe I can call it that. Kickstarts actually help us to gain momentum. So when are you going to start your kickstart, and be consistent and be committed to that? Number 7, when are you going to start? Now, I have a bonus question, okay? So this is for those of you who, if you are afraid to spend on coaching for help, the question is, why do you have a fear of spending on coaching services? It's super uncomfortable, and I get that. It's not comfortable, but it's priceless, and it will open your eyes to all the things that you yourself have been holding yourself back from. Because more often than not, it's us that gets in the way. We get in the way. We can't always say that it's Satan. It's ourselves crippling ourselves. Our thoughts inside of our minds seep down into our hearts, and we stay where we are because of fear of change. And I get it. It's scary to do something different than what we're used to, that, maybe for some of us, we've done it for decades, right? But doing the same things for that amount of time, that length of time, and then shifting that can be very scary. But having people in my corner to coach me and having mentors in my life has been a game changer and an answered prayer, from everything from my business to marriage to motherhood to my health. And now I know the appropriate way to exercise because I've invested in a coach that can help guide me. Appropriate for my age and being a woman. I prayed for these specific coaches, these specific people in my life, and God sent them my way in His perfect timing, because it's when I needed them at the times when I was struggling the most. And these people are God sent. They have helped me to see the blind spots that I couldn't see on my own. And now I know what to avoid and why it's so important to follow X, Y, and Z, and why things are said this way or why we should do this, right? It's not just words pulled out from a sky. There's actually a reason to follow X, Y, and Z. It's definitely a learning process and it's a journey, and God always gives me and you the opportunity to grow for sure. So yes, spending is uncomfortable, but it's priceless and it's worth it, and you will always walk away knowing more and being able to apply more than you could ever do if you did it all by yourself. Guys, I'm someone who invests in coaches, and I'm a coach myself. And so if I was telling you to go and hire a coach and I never even hired a coach myself, what gives me the right to even do that, right? So I know the times in my life when I didn't want to spend for that, right? It was scary. I'd rather spend it on something else or whatever. I felt stuck and I felt very lost and confused and all these different things going on, one person saying this and the other person saying that, and I don't know who to listen to. It was such a big shift in my life because I knew exactly now who to trust. And now that person knows my life and helped to carve out different things that worked for me personally. And that's the same thing I want to do for you. Okay. So if you are listening, this is not by accident. Email me to find out more information about my coaching services. It's one-on-one. We're not in a group setting. It's just you. It's just me. And I can say one thing, and that is whenever God sends someone my way, it is such a huge blessing. And I really can't wait to see who he sees next. And I'm just letting you know right now that for future reference, right now I'm recording this in February, but the month of March, I will not be available. Okay. So I'm just giving you a heads up on that. But these are the types of things that we dig through when we do one-on-one coaching together. And it's not a secret that these are the things that you don't get to do when you hire a personal trainer or when you go to a gym, you sign up for a gym, right? They don't have you dig these questions and uproot these things. That's the physical stuff, right? They take care of the physical stuff. But we know as God-fearers that there's more than just the physical to this life. There are things hidden or ignored that we haven't addressed. And a majority of the time, that's the stuff we need to uproot by asking these kinds of questions and praying about it, including God in this journey, because this has always been the missing piece for me as a Christian, guys. But even before I gave my life to Jesus, I was still searching for more. I didn't know how to create boundaries for my life. I didn't know how or why my marriage was falling apart. I had the body, but who cares about that when I didn't appreciate the people who loved me, and my heart was ugly and my priorities were all wrong. It was upside down, and I didn't know when to stop searching, right? I was never enough with what I already had, and the list goes on. And I know if you're here listening that this is 99.99999% describing you too. And that's why you're here. You have realized that you are short of a couple of puzzle pieces, and this is one of them. Maybe you're not sure what we're going to do together in a coaching session. If you're not sure, then I invite you to reach out to me, ask the right questions, and you will get answers. Email me and ask me your questions. If you have been listening to me for a while, but you're still in the same place, let's get you on board, and I will help you to carve out a specific plan customized just for you. Maybe you don't like the way your body is shaped. Maybe you want to lose weight, but you're not sure how to go about it as a Christian. Maybe you're in a fitness program already, but you still feel confused and overwhelmed because everyone else is getting results except you, and you just don't know what to do with that. Everyone is going to come to me for different reasons. So email me. Let's get you booked already. Okay. Jacqueline@courageousfitfemale.com. Again, I am not going to be available in the month of March, and that's just a heads up. Okay. Let's recap. Number 1 question. How committed are you on a scale between 0 through 4? Number 2, how many days a week are you doing the appropriate requirements? Number 3, how much longer do you want to keep throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks? Number 4, why not, right? Because we're always asking the question, why? But why not? Why not? And then insert the blank. Number 5, what are you going to let go of? And what are you going to start doing? Number 6, have you prayed about it? And number 7, when are you going to start? Alrighty, sisters, that is it for this episode. So when you're feeling discouraged, or as you feel discouraged, even though you're doing all the things to try to get to this, whatever, the outcome that you're trying to achieve, ask yourself these questions, okay? And I'd love to know, if you did go through this little exercise inventory, what did God reveal to you? What did the Holy Spirit prompt you to do next? Or what did He prompt you to let go of? Ladies, thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you on the next episode. For His honor and for His glory, stay courageous and fit.